O'clock, a husband accused of murdering his wife is now on trial. Richard Dabate's trial is more than 6 years in the making. Investigators say the murder happened inside their Ellington home, and a Fitbit linked him to the crime.
December 23rd, 2015. A normal morning in a quiet Connecticut town. A mother leaves for the gym, 2 kids are at home, and by the end of the day, she's dead. But here's the twist. The crime scene she left behind doesn't tell the story. Her husband says it was an intruder. The police are called, and thanks to something as small as a Fitbit, the truth comes crashing down. You're about to hear the story of Connie Dabate, her life, routines, and the shocking betrayal that ended it all. And trust me, this isn't just another murder case. This is a story of a woman who helped solve her own murder, whether she knew it or not. Take a look at this footage from the news coverage of her murder.
2 weeks and still no arrest in the murder of a young Ellington mother. 39-year-old Connie Dabate was found dead just before Christmas.
Police responded to her Birchview drive home.
Connie Dabate was the type of person who lit up a room without even trying. Born on July 31st, 1976, and raised in the small town of Ellington, Connecticut, she carried the values of her hometown with her. Kindness, dedication, and genuine care for others. She graduated from Ellington High School in 1995, and even back then, people knew her as someone who would go out of her way to help a friend, participate in school activities, or lend a listening ear. Connie was the type of person who can make everyone feel seen and valued. After high school, she pursued a degree at the University of Connecticut, graduating in 1999. She went on to build a successful career in pharmaceutical sales, where she was respected for her dedication and professionalism, but work wasn't all that defined her. Connie was the type of person who prioritized family above everything else. She was a devoted mother of 2 boys, RJ and Connor, and made sure that every day, no matter how busy, her boys knew they were loved. She was also deeply connected to the community, volunteering, participating in fundraisers, and even delivering meals to neighbors in need. She was the type of person whose routines, thoughtfulness, and genuine care for others weren't just habits. They were a reflection of the person she actually was to the core. And these very qualities, her attention to detail and the love that she poured into her life daily, that later helped investigators piece together the truth of that tragic day. In 2015, a day that should have been perfectly ordinary, Connie left for the gym at around 8:46 that morning. But just a half an hour later, her plans changed. The class was canceled, and she headed back home and arrived at around 9:18 a.m. Once she got home, Connie called her mother, chatted briefly, and even hopped on Facebook for a little. Everything about her morning looked normal until it didn't. See, while Connie was going through her morning routine, the home security logs were quietly recording something strange. The basement door was open 8 separate times that morning. The alarm system was armed and disarmed over and over and over, like someone pacing, indecisive, or maybe rehearsing something. They shouldn't be, probably, maybe. Between 9:30 a.m. and 10 a.m., the pattern continued. Small bursts of activity, then silence. At 10:05 a.m., Connie's Fitbit recorded its last steps. After that, nothing. No phone calls, no posts, no movement. Whatever happened in that house, it happened fast. and someone knew exactly what they were doing. Richard said he wasn't even home that morning. He was on his way to work, just another normal weekday morning, until, of course, the home alarm went off.
Come on.
Naturally, he pulled over and called his boss to let him know the alarm had gone off, and he decided he needed to turn back and go home. Because priorities, right? A potential intruder first, work second. Once back at the house, Richard claimed he found a man hiding in an upstairs closet. Yes, an intruder just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This alleged intruder then chased Connie into the basement and shot her, using their own gun, for God's sakes. Of course, because when burglars break into suburban homes, they always use the homeowner's firearm. Totally believable. Richard said that the intruder tied him up only on his non-dominant left hand, which was fastened to a folding chair. It's almost laughable if it weren't for the circumstances. He had cuts and puncture wounds on his thighs, chest, and one finger. They were very superficial. Very superficial. The home's panic alarm had been activated and 911 had already been called. And naturally, in Richard's retelling, the intruder sounded like Vin Diesel. Because why not make your home invasion cinematic? When the officers arrived, they found Connie tragically in the basement, the family gun used in the shooting, and the box cutter, along with the burnt debris and multiple blood droplets. According to Richard, the intruder's morning was perfectly choreographed, chasing Connie downstairs, shooting her with their own gun, returns upstairs, ties Richard up tightly, torture him, leave everything else untouched, nothing. Detectives weren't buying it. While the story was elaborate, the physical evidence, Fitbit steps, alarm logs, and later forensic analysis quietly told a different story, one that Richard hadn't accounted for. Although the police didn't know it yet, the proof of what really happened that morning was quietly waiting on Connie's wrist. During the hospital interview, Richard first claimed that he and Connie, unable to have another child, had arranged for a surrogate. Conveniently, the surrogate just so happened to be a high school girlfriend. Totally normal, right? Because why not add a little subplot straight out of a teen drama to your already complicated morning? Then, just when you think it couldn't get more tangled, Richard admitted that he had an affair with the same young woman. And yes, she was pregnant. Detectives simply noted the inconsistencies for now. The timeline, the Fitbit, the alarm, the injuries, all quietly started to contradict the narrative Richard was so carefully spinning. So here's where the story gets, let's say, almost impressive in its audacity. The police had a canine team follow the scent of Richard's wallet, which, by the way, had been tossed outside near the basement bulkhead stairs that morning. Because apparently, you can just throw your wallet in the yard, wave your hands around, and think, yeah, they won't find me. Yeah, genius. The dogs did their job. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. And each time they tracked the scent straight back to Richard. Yes, even all the way to the ambulance. Because somehow the subtlety of hiding your wallet and orchestrating a perfect home invasion does not fool a couple of highly trained police dogs. Who knew? So while Richard was busy performing the role of a tortured victim, the canines were quietly saying, "Nice try, genius. we see you. Approximately 16 months after Connie's murder, Richard was finally taken into custody in April of 2017.
Ellington, accused of killing his wife, will be facing a judge as the case inches closer to trial.
He was charged with murder, tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, and making a false statement in connection with the crime. Because apparently it takes over a year to catch a man who thinks he's the perfect victim, Vin Diesel, intruder and all, in his own meticulously staged crime. Genius. The case went to a highly publicized jury trial. The state presented evidence including Richard's statement and glaring inconsistencies, medical testimony, canine tracking, which followed his wallet sent 3 times, even to the ambulance, DNA evidence on the basement safe, folding chair, gun, and box cutter, Fitbit data that contradicted his story about the shooting in the basement sequence. And just like that, the perfectly executed home invasion, not so perfect at all. 65 years in prison to ponder exactly where it all went wrong. While the verdict offered a measure of justice for Connie's family, the truth had already been quietly speaking through all the evidence all along. A truth Richard could never rewrite, no matter how dramatic his story is. Now, before we wrap this up, I just want to share how I feel about the case. Honestly, I don't buy the narrative that Richard killed Connie out of fear that she'd find out about his mistress being pregnant. If you ask me, he wasn't scared. He was cold, he was calculated, and completely ruthless. He killed his wife to try to start a new life with his mistress. And yes, people call it the Fitbit murder, sure, but Fitbit helped unravel the timeline. Let's be clear. This is not a Fitbit murder. Connie herself, just living her routine life, unknowingly helped expose the truth of her killer, who tried to hide it. Connie was a mom, a daughter, a friend. She mattered. And while we can dissect the crime, the evidence, and all of Richard's ridiculous theatrics, let's not forget the person at the heart of the story. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think Richard's real motives were? Was it fear? Or do you see it the way I do? Cold, calculated, and planned. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think. And also, thanks for watching. And let's remember Connie for the life she lived, not just the tragedy that took her.